One of the most common questions we get from clients is if something happens to me, how do I make sure my possessions get to those that I care about as efficiently as possible? So today I'm going to cover the 4 ways that wealth transfers when you pass to make sure that you have a plan that aligns with your needs. Before we get started, I'm Brennan Decima, owner of Decima Wealth Consulting, and we're gonna start with the most common way. And the most common way is having a beneficiary designation on your account. So this is really common with things like retirement accounts, life insurance, investment accounts, bank accounts, annuities. If there is a beneficiary on file, the money avoids probate, it goes directly to the named beneficiary. So really important tip, this supersedes the will. So really critical to make sure that your beneficiary is updated if your will updates and everything aligns. Now, common pitfall I see is divorce is incredibly common. So a lot of people have retirement accounts from old employers scattered around. Well, if you've been remarried or if you have a new addition to the family, good best practice is to go back and check all of your accounts and make sure the beneficiaries are updated to reflect your new circumstances. So that's number 1, passing by beneficiaries. Number 2 is passing by law. And passing by law is when there is a joint owner on the account. So most commonly joint bank accounts or a joint name on the home deed or car title. So if something happens to you or one owner, without probate, the assets or the property is just immediately transfers to the other owner. So really simplified way, very common if you're married to have a joint bank account. One person passes, the other person gets it. They don't have to go through probate or anything of that nature. Number 3 is by probate. Now, by probate is where the will is read. So the will is typically a public hearing. It goes in front of a judge. This is normally appropriate if you have a very streamlined, simple wish. You don't have a complicated estate. It's equal splitting, typically lower dollars. The will is perfectly appropriate for that. But the will, when you go through probate, there's 3 things to consider. 1, it's public. So, everyone knows what happened with the distribution of assets. Some people may not like that. Number 2, it's typically time consuming. So if you have property in multiple states, it could be years before your probate is wrapped up. It could also be very expensive. Normally you need to hire an attorney. So probate, public, not quick normally, and then can be very costly as well. The important part of the will though, and this is something that I always like to talk about, is the will is where you name the guardian for your minor children. So a will is going to distribute everything point in time when you pass. It's not going to control it over a length of time. It also does not protect against your incapacitation. So it's not a plan if you get a stroke, dementia, any of that stuff. So finally, number 4 is by trust. Now, a trust is a legal document that names a trustee to manage and distribute the assets for the beneficiary. And that's done by the terms of the trust. So a trust is going to avoid probate. It's going to be private. It's going to have provisions if you become incapacitated. You can put certain criteria for when and how the money gets distributed. I have some clients that have milestones that their family members need to achieve. And that's not always age related, but it could be age related. Hey, I want them to get it when they're 35 or 45, or I don't want them to get it unless they get a master's degree or finish their PhD. So you can have whatever control you want, but it's private. It avoids probate and allows you to protect against creditors, divorces, lawsuits. It also, if you want, makes sure that if there's a remarriage or if one person doesn't spend it, it can get redirected to another beneficiary of your choosing. So again, all 4 of these have a rhyme and a reason for the right situation. One is not necessarily better than the other, but it's really appropriate to understand how all 4 of them work. Again, we've got passing by beneficiary. We've got by law, which is a joint account. We've got by probate, which is where the will is read. And then we've got by trust. If you need any assistance with this, we would love to have the conversation. Visit us, www.decimawealth.com. Have a great day.